the Strength card. The Strength card here shows a woman with a lion. And we know how dangerous lions are, but for some way, somehow, she has tamed this lion and it's sitting on her lap. She's got his paw lovingly in her hand, and she's not stressed at all. Here in Barbara Moore's deck, we see that Alice is scared, and she's kind of drawing strength from hugging this deer. She is afraid, but she's looking forward. She's not running away. So strength is drawing on your inner strength. So it's not so much as drawing on your inner strength as it is as taming your strength, taming your emotions. This lion represents your raw emotions. In this deck, as I said, Barbara Moore's deck doesn't really follow the Rider-Waite traditional meanings. Taming that inner lion, it's not what you say, but how you say it. Pulling strings from behind the scenes. You don't always have to be aggressive. You don't always have to be the chariot. So if the Strength card comes up, it's more about your internal strength, where the chariot is about your external strength. So this is internal. It's okay to be the one calling all the shots quietly out of the limelight. And it also gives you an advantage because people sleep on you. They don't realize that you have all the power that you do, and they're not trying to stop you or get in your way or thwart your plans by any means because they don't know it's you pulling the strings. There's nothing wrong with having power and pulling the strings from behind the scene. You know, people do not see you as a threat that way. Being afraid and continuing forward anyways. The Strength card lets us know it's okay to feel all of your emotions fully. This lion, go ahead and feel all of that fully, but if they are negative, keep it inside and react the opposite way. So you may be feeling like this lion on the inside. That's fine. Go scream in your car, whatever you have to do, but you don't have to react that way outwardly. Some examples of everyday situations that are the Strength card, and think of this as well. This is another really good way to train yourself to learn these tarot cards. When there's a situation that happens in your life, I don't care if it's with you or someone else. Say people get into an argument in a restaurant and the person starts yelling. Your mind should think Strength card. This situation is the Strength card. Start thinking about everyday situations as tarot cards. Even if you have to carry your tarot book with you that comes with your deck that tells you what each card is, that way you don't have to carry your deck. Carry that little book with you. Somebody starts getting into an argument, oh, Strength card. She needs the Strength card. This situation would pull up the Strength card. I want you to start thinking of things that way. That's how I trained myself. If somebody is road raging someone and they're honking their horn, Strength card. This situation, if this situation were a card reading, what cards would come up for this situation? Well, the Chariot would be reversed for sure, and the Strength card would be reversed for sure in this road rage situation. Challenge yourself to think that way. Some more real life situations for strength. If it was a love reading and say you're doing it for yourself and the Strength card comes up for you and say it's reversed, or even if it was straight, are you the type of person that if you tell your husband to go take out the trash and he doesn't do it, you go in the kitchen and start slamming all of the cabinets and slamming everything down and stomping hard like Godzilla through the house, and when he asks you what's wrong, you say nothing? Or are you the type of person when you ask your husband to take out the trash and he does not take out the trash, you don't say a thing, and when you get in bed and your husband's trying to get romantic with you, you say, oh, hold on 1 second, I need to go freshen up, and you know what? I forgot to take the trash out. Let me do that and I'll be right back. That would be the Strength card. Another work situation Strength card at work. Are you the type of person that gets upset and go tells your coworker if they're getting on your nerves and you guys are having a disagreement and you tell, you know what, Susan, fuck you. That would be a Strength card situation where the Strength card would encourage you to say, I see your point, Susan. I completely see your point. Thank you very much. I will note those changes. Thank you. And walk away and, cuss around in your head. An email, client, customer services. I know it's so hard to work in customer service, and a client keeps asking you a question, and you type in per my last email in all caps, like that strength card, don't do it. The strength card would say, okay, this is how I feel, but oh, I'm so sorry you didn't receive my last email. Allow me to forward it to you again. Thank you so much for drawing it to my attention that I was negligent in this matter. That's basically saying, fuck you, bitch, but in strength. You need to learn how to talk in strength. So if these cards were reversed, it's telling us to ask our querent or ourself quite a few questions. If the strength card comes up reversed, there we go, you can see those that way. Are you having proper balance in your strength? Are you too strong? Are you overly confident and overly cocky? Or are you too timid and shy? When you have setbacks and you experience these things, does it shake your confidence? If it does shake your confidence, then you need to draw on past victories, things that you have overcome that you did not think you were going to be able to overcome. You think about that because you're always going to be challenged. You're always going to have things that are going to make you feel like you're not as powerful as you are. Or I can't go on. I can't do this. I can't take much more. I'm going to explode. Think about past situations where you were victorious. Do you need to just rest? Have you been strong for too long? Do you need to rest? Do you need to take a nap? Do you need to take a vacation? How can you recharge your inner strength to where you are not Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? How can we balance ourselves out? Do you hurt others when you're angry? This reverse card, do you hurt others when you're angry? Does your ego hurt others when it's angry or when it's tested? Do you have your ego in check? Do you have knee-jerk reactions and how to do damage control later? Are you the person that's always, spanking the shit out of your kids in the first little thing they do, and then you have to go back and apologize? Oh, mommy's hungry. Mommy had cramps. They don't care about that. You've done what you did. Do you have knee-jerk reactions in your life, at work, whatever it is? This scenario, this explanation of this card fits any scenario, whether it's business, love, general reading. These are the questions that you need to ask yourself or your querent. You need to control your raw passion and your raw emotions if this is coming up reversed for you in anything, in any situation. So that is strength. The Hermit. When you look at the Hermit, you see that this gentleman has a lantern. And as you know, a lantern only emits so much light, allowing you to see directly in front of you, but you cannot see to your peripheral. You have no peripheral view, and you can't see beyond a few feet. So you have to keep walking to see further. And that is basically the sum of the Hermit card. It is soul searching and having faith, taking the journey and allowing your intuition and allowing your inner self to guide you, and realizing that you'll see a little bit further after you take the first step. A lot of people will get this card if they are at a space where they're questioning religion or questioning what does my life mean? It's a state of questioning where you need to go inside. Some people completely withdraw when they're doing this. That's what it's about. It's about withdrawing and going inside, but not necessarily going inside, but also literally and figuratively. People will withdraw. Your friends fall off the face of the earth and you haven't heard from them for a while. They might be going through this phase. It is also about finding teachers. If you are in a position where you are a student, like that saying says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. The Hermit could be another person coming into your life to teach you and guide you with what you need. The universe is sending you someone, kind of like the answer to your prayers. A real life example of this, like I said, look for everyday examples of it. If someone goes to prison and they found Jesus, they would have gone through and emerged from the Hermit. Sometimes people's priorities change with that introspection. You may have one friend that you used to love to go out and get ratchet with every weekend at the club, and she disappears for a few months and comes back, and you find out she's now a Mormon missionary. Well, what the fuck? She went through the hermit phase. So that would be a card that you could attribute to that real life example. If this were to come up reversed, some questions you would ask yourself in your querent would be, it's isolation. So are you reflecting too hard? So ask your querent, are you reflecting a little too hard? Are you neglecting your children, your husband? Is your work performance slacking because you're going a little too far with the introspection? Can you come out of it a little bit and still maintain your worldly, duties, but also work on yourself? Are you being selfish in that? Or are you not doing it enough? Are you not reflecting enough? You need to ask them. You need to talk to them about it. If it's a love reading, it could mean that one person is needing time and space and the other person doesn't want them to have it. The other person is feeling anxiety and stress possibly from this person's new change. The person's changed and they need that time to go through that upgrade. And the other person may be uncomfortable about it. And we have to understand that when we are in love with someone, everybody's not going to be the same. You could be with someone for 30 years, and through that 30 years, they've gone through this hermit 17 times. You don't know. Everybody's path is different. So when they're going through these spiritual upgrades, how can I be of support? How can I be supportive during this without trying to pull this person back to me and make them be, with me full time like they were before? How can I support them during this introspection phase? And can I accept if after they come out of this, I am no longer what they need? It could also be about acceptance. Or are you the one that's needing the space to reevaluate yourself and what you stand for and what you want and spiritually get in tune with yourself? And when you come out of that, do you need to tell someone that they no longer fit that? Does your job no longer fit that? Does the church no longer fit it? And now you realize that you're an atheist now. It's a change. And it's also, you need to draw on strength. the previous cards. You need to draw on strength to be able to express that, if that's something that you have gone through. So that is the Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of a motherfucking fortune. Is this not what every one of us is experiencing right now? Upright, it means good luck, cycles of life, turning points and changes. It also traditionally means karma, but as a non-Christian, I'm going to tell you I do not believe in karma. I believe in the law of attraction. So to me, this card, I replace karma with the law of attraction. It is what you attract to yourself. People say, oh, you get what you give. If you're a jerk, you're going to get that back. Not true. You can be a jerk and not get people acting like a jerk to you if you change that vibration. It's all about vibration. So, law of attraction. If you are in a state of woe me, you are going to attract woe me. If you are in a state of abundance and I'm so grateful for everything, you will attract more of that to yourself. It's the same in magic. If you curse someone, I am not going to be cursed times the power of 3 times 3. That's bullshit. If I curse someone and I do not break that frequency and change from that frequency via cleansing, via ritual baths, via forgetting I did the work in the first place, I am still vibrating at that frequency, then I will attract other things at that lower level frequency. That's not karma. It's the law of attraction. So karma is a very rudimentary way of our ancestors who do not understand science trying to explain the laws of attraction. So this card symbolizes the laws of attraction. You're not in control and you need to go with the flow. And if it were reversed, bad luck, resistance to change and breaking cycles. It could mean unexpected sudden changes. And this could be a good thing, because if you figure out how you got into this situation and why your luck changed so bad, and you fully take responsibility for it, you can figure out how to never be in this situation again. If you identify your own faults and you have made changes and you have been doing positive things, and this card came up for you in a reading, it could symbolize that things are on the up and up for you, because you have figured out and taken responsibility for your part in this, and that is why things are going to change for you. So actually, let me turn this back this way for just a second so you can actually see the card. So I am much more of a fan of this Wheel of Fortune than this one. This makes sense to me. When I look at this one, it creeps me out. First of all, I don't know if that is a midget or a child. Is he eating her cheek? Is he telling her a secret? Is he giving her a kiss? I have no idea. I did not know cows had eyebrows, and in this drawing they definitely do, and they are furrowed. Are they getting ready to fight? There's beef there. Yes, pun intended, I meant that. This is a weird card to me. I see he's on the floor. He's having a hard time, possibly he's a beggar, and maybe this is a better time. This card is very confusing to me, as well as disturbing. I'm disturbed. So let's relate this to our everyday circumstances. The reason I call it the Wheel of motherfucking Fortune is because this is us now. This is the coronavirus now. And the way that we can look at this, upright and reversed, because this situation for all of us is the upright Wheel of Fortune and the reverse. Let me explain the upright Wheel of Fortune. For all of us experiencing this COVID-19 pandemic, the Wheel of Fortune, this is not going to last forever. Bad times don't last forever, and that is the one thing that we can be appreciative with, is knowing that life changes. The only constant in life is change. We're not in control of this pandemic. We have to go with the flow and be appreciative for the things that we have now. Not, oh, I lost my job. Don't even think about that. What are you appreciative now for? One thing that you can all be appreciative for is that you have a cell phone and the bill is obviously paid, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be listening to me rambling right now. So that's one thing that you can be grateful for. We all are experiencing the reverse of the Wheel of Fortune card with the COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the things is it's an unexpected change. That's why it's also reversed for all of us. For once, all of us have the same cards, reversed and upright Wheel of Fortune. One of the things that we can learn from this card, because it's in all of our spreads, if we were to do a spread right now, this card should come up for all of us. Sudden change. You may feel like you're having bad luck. I'm broke. I lost my job. This is horrible. The one thing that you can get from this pandemic is, no, you will never be able to control if a pandemic breaks out or if a war breaks out, but you can control how you are equipped to handle it. If you're in a position right now where you have not a dollar to your name and you're waiting for that stimulus check and you've been unemployed, you can't control A, if and when you're going to get a stimulus, B, being fired. What you can control is your savings. If you don't have a dollar to your name, you have to be willing to look at yourself and accept responsibility for why you don't have a dollar to your name. And I know it's very easy to say, I don't make enough money to save, I can't save, I have this bills, I have that, and I have kids. I want to remind you that there are people that have saved money with less than what we had. How many of those success stories have you read where somebody came to this country not speaking English with $2 in their pocket, $2 in their pocket, and became, oh, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger? There's a lot of people that have overcome more horrific circumstances than we are going through now, and they have come out on top. You need to look at yourself and figure out, how can I be in the best form I can be when this card is reversed? If it's financially, how can I establish some sort of nest egg for myself to where if and when this happens again, and it won't be a pandemic every time, you may get fired again in the future. How can I make sure that I am never in this position again with $1 in my pocket when this card comes to fuck me in the ass? How can I add a little bit of lube to the tip of this card the next time it comes around? That way it's not so brutal. That's what you need to try to think and figure out in regards to this reverse card. We all need to think about it. If you do have a nest egg and you do have a lot of money saved, how can I help? This card has come up reversed for everybody in my life. How can I be of assistance? I have money. Maybe I don't have a lot to give, but can I donate a couple cans to a food bank? Can I offer emotional support, which is free? Can I send out a text to everybody in my phone every day that's a motivational text? If you're a Christian, can I send out a positive Christian quote, something from Psalms, every day to people in my family to let them know that they're supported and we're going through this together? Can I post something positive on Facebook instead of posting how this is a conspiracy and the government is trying to kill us and aliens are behind this? What can I do to help? So this is what this card draws us to really, really focus on. So all of us have things that we can work on with this card reverse during this COVID-19. So let's all work on this reverse card and figuring out how we can either make other people's situations better or how we can make our situation better for when this card comes back around in our life with whatever circumstance is going to make it resurface. The Justice card. In our Barbara Moore deck, we see here that you have the Queen, who is again off with your head. That's her thing. And you have the King here who is looking at her, and he's a little more forgiving. He's got a little bit of calmness in his face. He's kind of giving her the side eye. He is her polar opposite. I want to tell you that the Justice card really doesn't have that much to do with justice as it does judgment. If you think of the Justice card as judgment, you'll be able to decipher it a little more clearly. A little bit of justice, but more to do with judgment. Here you have this person has the scales, justice, the 2 scales of justice. The Justice card is about fairness, but judgment and cause and effect. If it's upright, taking responsibility for your actions, taking responsibility for your part in whatever situation that you're coming to the querent for. The querent is coming to you for. So how you judge others is how you will be judged. Judge others the way that you would want to be judged. And it's not the karma thing, it's the law of attraction. So if you are someone who is like the Queen and it's off with their head, would you want someone to be this way to you if you had did the same thing? Say raising your child and your child lies to you or steals from you. If you are the type of parent that is the Queen and it's off with their head and you're going to just go straight to corporal punishment, spankings, whatever, is that how you would want to be reprimanded and treated and judged if you had done the same thing? I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. It calls for you to say that if you are guilty of something, that if you're guilty of something, that we need to, oh no, I'm sorry. I got it confused. I'm thinking of the reverse. Forget that. Rewind. If you're guilty of something, that you're going to be judged fairly. So if you're guilty of something and you went to court, you are going to be judged fairly. It doesn't mean that you're going to get off scot-free. It just means that you'll be judged fairly. Justice will be served. If it comes up upright and you are in litigation and you are suing someone for something, the upright Justice card is telling us that we cannot change the decision. We have to accept the ruling and move forward. It's not going to be changed. When the Judgment card is upright in regards to litigation, it is letting you know that you have to accept whatever happens. If you get a settlement for 10 grand and you were suing for 70,000, you have to accept it, because the Justice card is saying that this is it. This is as good as it gets. Whatever happens, this is what's going to happen. This is what you have to accept. It also calls us to confirm and challenge our beliefs. Make sure that your actions towards getting your justice are in line with your higher self. If you are the type of person that is going to go slash somebody's tires, because they did you wrong. Is that really who you are? I mean, if it is, hey, slash on and make sure that you don't slash more than one tire at a time because you're not trying to get caught, okay? Now, I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just saying, but if this is not who you are, then reevaluate it. Is there another way that I could go about getting justice from this person without being physically violent? It's really not in alignment with who I am, and I don't want to deal with the repercussions of it, and I don't want to feel guilty about it. So can I reevaluate and do it in a different way? If this card were to be reversed, guilt. If somebody is coming to you and say a love reading, and this card comes up, I would ask them, what are you guilty of? Or do you think your partner is guilty of? Are you very harsh with your judgments? Do you falsely accuse people of things? Do you gaslight people? Are you a narcissist? There's a lot of things that you can draw from this card when it comes reverse, if you're thinking of it in terms of judgment and not justice. Also, are you harboring something that you feel so horrible that nobody would accept you? So you're just keeping it inside until you get caught. You got to keep denying it until somebody has undeniable proof that you did it. It's weighing on you and it's eating you inside. Or could you come to a higher level of existence by admitting what you did, getting rid of the guilt, and then doing damage control that way, trying to rectify the situation? And can you accept what happens when you do admit that you were wrong or admit guilt? Everybody doesn't have to forgive you. Everybody doesn't have to forgive you. Sometimes you've done something so horrible that it is unforgivable, and that is something that you have to accept, especially if this card comes up reversed. You have to accept it. Are you going to try to pin the blame on someone else? Ask your querent that. Are you trying to, dodge something? Or do you feel like someone is trying to dodge something? Are you trying to, maybe shift the blame off to someone else? Is there some responsibility that you can take in this situation to kind of mitigate some damage control and regain respect? You can still get people's respect by telling the truth, even if they don't want to fuck with you anymore after you told them the truth. They may respect you, but they choose not to move forward in business or in love with you, and that's okay. You have to accept that. It's a painful karmic lesson, but we all have choices. You didn't have to do the thing that you did that you're guilty for, that you now need to come clean for. So that's another card. That card again was one of the ones in the beginning about knowing yourself, knowing what you stand for, knowing your truth, knowing your values, and never straying from those. So we've already gone through that phase in life, and now here we find ourselves in a situation where we didn't abide by that card, and now we're reversed. Also, are you free from prejudiceness and bias? If you need to make a decision and you need to judge someone, am I pinning this on this person because they are a race that I don't particularly like? Or am I in court and I'm on jury duty and I'm gonna, say this person's guilty because they remind me of my ex-boyfriend or they're a race that I don't like? If this comes up reversed and your querent is in a situation where they may be in a legal battle or they may be on jury duty or they may, be having to make a decision on someone's fate to fire someone or something, they need to reevaluate their motivation. Are they doing what's in alignment with their higher self? You need to be fair. And if it's a court case and your querent gets this card and they're in court and they're fighting, it could signify that they're going to have legal complications, or that it's going to be an unfair ruling. It's going to be unfair and they're going to have to fight. So there are many, many, many questions that you can ask when this card comes up, especially in relation to the other cards. And that is the Justice card. The Hanged Man. As you see this card, both gentlemen are suspended upside down. They are bound by one foot. They look relaxed, not stressed at all. This man is even drinking tea upside down. They're not really worried. They're just in limbo. And this could be a voluntary or involuntary limbo. It's calling you to reevaluate. Do you need to surrender a way of thinking that no longer serves you? Have you outgrown the old person that you used to be, and you need to become something else to move forward? You could do this yourself. You could be the hangman yourself. I need to take a sabbatical and really evaluate where I stand on the situation. That would be a hanged man situation. Or the universe could do it for you, calling you to slow down and think. The universe will continually throw wrenches in your wheel spokes if you don't listen to this card. If you feel like there's a time that you need to slow down and think, or your querent needs to slow down and think, they need to take that. I don't care if it means carting the kids off to grandma's house and going on a little weekend trip up to the mountains. I don't care if it means pulling the kids out of school on Monday and Tuesday and sitting in the grandma's house so you can go on a sabbatical, or if that means that grandma needs to pick them up on Monday and Tuesday and take them to school. Whatever it takes, when you feel this hangman coming on where you need to kind of go in, it's not the Hermit. It's just, I need to make a decision. I need to reevaluate what I need to get rid of. I need to change something. I need to change the way I'm functioning, the way I'm thinking. Something needs to break. And I need to take the time to do that. The hangman can be as long or as short as you make it. It depends on how long you heed the call. If this card were to be reversed, it's going to mean delays, resistance, indecision. You see it like this, yeah. Then that basically means, it means you need to take a break and reevaluate, but you're doing the opposite. You're doing the opposite. You're turning up when you need to turn down. What this could look like is say if you're a person and you really need to reevaluate where your relationship is going with your husband, let's say, maybe you've outgrown each other, and instead of doing that, you bury yourself in work with the kids and at work, and on the weekend you're trying to do all sorts of home projects, whatever you can do to shut your mind off from the situation that you really need to focus on and make a decision on. The universe will step in and slow you down to where it's the only thing you can do is think about that. You could be trying to paint your house one weekend and you go to the store and they don't have that paint color and you need to order it. Okay, I don't want to wait. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy this paint color that I don't like anyway. And you go home and you start trying to paint and you fall off the ladder and you break your foot. The universe turned up. First, they didn't have your paint color. You should have ordered it and waited, and that way it allow you some time to think, but you didn't do that. You pushed forward. You tried to go ahead anyway, and the universe had you break your foot. So you could sit on your ass and do nothing but think. So when you feel this, or when your querent is in a position where they're asking you for a reading and they need to make a decision, if this card comes up reversed, they need to stop immediately. You need to stop immediately, and you really need to make that decision. Stop putting it off and make the decision. It could also mean that a relationship is in limbo. If it comes up in a love reading for you or your querent, it could also mean that the relationship is in limbo. Either they have put a stop to it so they can think, or someone has put a stop to it so they can think. So this is asking us to hold space for the person within reason, but also know when it's time to move on. When it's time to move on, and also if it's time to give someone an answer. You can't keep someone in limbo forever. So this card, if it came up in a love reading, it would be kind of a stuck situation. You would ask your querent, are you kind of on pause in your relationship, or are you thinking of pausing your relationship so you can think? And if you are, make sure you do it in a respectful time and give that person an answer. If you want to move forward with that person, then forgive them and move forward, but don't drag it out, because at some point you need to make a decision. And again, if you don't, the universe is going to push you to decide. You do not want the universe to step in. You want to be in control of this. And it's Also good to point out that when you start to master the tarot, you start to master your life. You become a master of your own life. When things happen to you in your life, you're able to think, oh, this is the Hermit happening to me right now, or this is the Wheel of Fortune happening right now, or this is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse happening right now. And then you can think, what does that card mean in reverse? What is it trying to tell you? You're giving yourself a reading, throughout every day and every circumstance. Every circumstance in your life relates to one of these cards. When you master these cards, you begin to master your life more effectively. You become happier. You're able to get out of these situations and not feel so lost and bleak and woe is me, because you know what's coming next. I know that after the Magician, I'm going to be the Hierophant, or I'm going to be the Chariot. Like, what's coming ahead. It's up to you if you decide to go backwards to the Fool, or if you want to go forwards and you can jump 7 cards and go straight to, the Chariot. It's up to you when you master tarot to really, really, really be able to navigate your life more effectively and quickly than you would if you weren't cognizant of tarot. It really is a tool that is amazing to have under your belt. If you never read professionally for anyone, being able to read these for yourself and relate them to your own life. So that is the Hanged Man. The Death card. Death is probably one of the most positive cards in the deck. It can be. It just means rebirth, transformation, and change. It doesn't necessarily mean you're literally going to keel over and die like some Final Destination shit as soon as you leave the reading. It does not mean that. So death is a wonderful card to welcome. It could mean the end of your struggling. You're starting to have good luck. You're changing. It could be you getting a raise and no longer being on hourly and going to salary. It's just change, beginnings, rebirth, sudden and unexpected, sometimes new opportunities, closing a chapter. It could be breaking up with the boyfriend, but that boyfriend was abusing you. Or maybe he wasn't abusing you and you break up, but you find your soulmate after that, or your twin flame. It's not always bad. You could be breaking an addiction, breaking a habit, breaking bad mental habits. It's just about change. Whatever the cards around it are, you're going to read it in relation to that, but it is just change. If these cards would be reversed, then it would mean that you're resistant to change, or your querent is resistant to change. It can also be resistant to not physical change on the outside, but on the inside, or reluctant to change their views. It could be physical, or it could be emotional or mental. You need to let go of harmful thinking and habits and stop resisting if this comes up reversed. And you also kind of want to give yourself a mantra. You can become stuck. If you keep resisting change, you might become stuck, and it forces you to change. It will not move. The universe will not allow you to move 1 inch forward, backwards, to the side, or whatever. You're cornered like a rat. And if you feel like you're stuck like that, you may be experiencing the Death card. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate what we're going through. Like when we're trying to relate tarot to our life. Oh, I'm so stuck. I feel like I'm the hangman, but then you realize it's not the hangman because you've made decisions, you know what's going on in your life. Then maybe it's the Death card reversed. Sometimes the hangman could feel like the Chariot reversed. I mean, sometimes it's hard to figure out exactly where we are at, but that's what it comes to. Introspection for yourself, and if you're doing this for a querent, asking them a ton of questions. Another thing you want to offer your querent if their cards come up reversed is a sort of mantra. If they're having trouble letting go of harmful thinking or habits and resisting change, as this is suggesting, give them this mantra, or even use it for yourself, to ask the universe to grant you the strength to accept the things that you cannot change and change the things you cannot accept. If you cannot accept it, and you can't change it, the only thing you can change about it is your perception. There is always a choice. So it may seem kind of like a redundant statement. Oh, well, you can't change it, then you have to accept it. If you can't accept it, then you have to change it, and you have to change your perception. And it will allow you to ease through this transition a lot more gracefully. And really, you have to accept death. Death of everything. Everything changes. So the easier you are, the more you are able to adapt easier to things, the less stressful your life will be. I'm not saying it's not going to be painful, it's not going to suck, it's going to be less impactful on your spirit, and you'll be able to come out of it a lot sooner than if you are kicking and dragging your heels. The Temperance card. The Temperance card kind of has a little bit of the qualities of the Strength card as well. It's about balance, moderation, patience, your purpose. If you see here in Barbara Moore's deck, you see Alice, she has the 2 bits of the mushroom. One of them is going to make her bigger, one of them is going to make her smaller. She's figuring out how to balance this out to be the perfect size. So she's exemplifying temperance here. Here is a more traditional Rider-Waite. You have the angel, they're pouring into the cup, their feet are in water, which means kind of going with the flow. Temperance can mean staying composed, helping other people stay composed, staying unbiased and weighing all the options. If there's an argument that arises between people, trying to be the voice of reason and squashing that argument as soon as possible, bringing people together, being the moderator. You really need to be the Betty Crocker of compromise when temperance comes up. You're the Betty Crocker of compromise, and you need to learn how to make things work with the ingredients that you have, with the people that you have, with the situation that you have, the spouse that you have. That is what temperance is about making it work. If this card were to be in reverse, let's turn one of them over here. If it were to be in reverse, I would start asking questions to myself or my client. There's an imbalance. Where is there an imbalance? Is it excess? Do they need to realign? What I mean by excess is, do they have an addiction? Do they drink too much? Are they on their way to addiction? Do they have an eating disorder? Do they shop too much when they know damn well they barely have money to pay their bills? And normally, eating disorders, alcoholism, food addiction, any sort of addiction, shopping addiction, those are symbols of imbalance. There's an internal imbalance. I am not happy. I don't know how to make myself happy. So because I'm not happy, I'm going to emotionally eat, or I'm going to go shop and buy stuff I can't afford. I'm going to drink too much. Maybe I was molested or abused. Those are imbalances. And those are things that need to be dealt with, or it's going to get worse. So those are questions that you can ask. If it's something, if it comes up in a job reading, are you working too much? Do you neglect your family? You can relate it to any of the categories: love, business, or a general reading. And also, you want to look at your life and see if what you want and who you want matches your reality. There are so many people that would draw this card reversed right now during this pandemic. A lot of them avoid their reality. They avoid it at all costs. They work 79 hours a day, hell, not even a week, a day. They create extra days in the week just not to be able to go home because they don't like their reality. Their temperance card would be reversed. And a lot of people are now forced into their reality and they're stuck there. There's so many unhappy people right now. So many unhappy moms that wish they never had children. So many unhappy spouses that wish they hadn't met and married the other person. So many people are being confronted with their reality right now. This really is a time of temperance for everyone. So you really need to reevaluate that and ask the person to reevaluate that if this card comes up for them. And do they need a break? Do you need a break? Do you need to rebalance? If you do, by all means, take that break. Figure out how to do it. Figure out how to do it and work with your parent so they can figure out how to do it, to take that break, to realign and rebalance, because they're going to crash and burn if they don't. Temperance is so important. That's when people have mental breakdowns. when their temperance is off, or if the strength card comes up and it's off, they're a ticking time bomb. It's those are dangerous cards. They can be dangerous cards. So you really want to guide your querent to make sure that they're taking care of themselves to avoid crashing and burning. And that's Temperance.